All right, guys, so today we are going to be making an antenna. This one's from the QRPGuys, and it's their no-tune end-fed half-wave antenna. So that's right here, right now on ham radio for non-techies. Hey, so welcome back, guys. My name is Scott. My call sign is KI5MPL, and I'm the host of Ham Radio for Non-Techies. And like I said, today we're going to be working on this antenna build, and it's something I got from QRPGuys. I know some other people have done this before. It's brand new for me to try out, so we're going to see if I can do it without screwing it up too much. Anyway, let's pop over to my desktop real quick. I just want to show you here. So this is the antenna we're going to be building. And you can pick them up for 20 bucks. I got mine. They shipped them out really quick. I mean, I ordered it, I think, on a Monday, and I got it like on Wednesday or Thursday. It came really fast. Looks like it's supposed to be a pretty easy build. Only a couple things to solder. Got to wind a toroid up. So with that, guys, I think we're just going to jump right into it. This could be kind of lengthy. And we're going to jump in and get this built. I'll see you downstairs in the shop. All right, so starting off here, we have all of our parts. And we have our instructions. So I'm going to move over a couple things here. The first thing they say is to install this capacitor. So we're going to get that. And that goes into here. We'll get that installed. Everything's got to be a pain, right? Get that installed there. Get a little bit of our solder. And we'll start soldering up this piece here. I think we're good. Let's pull out a little bit more here. Really make sure that thing is connected. There we go. All right, so our capacitor is in. Looks pretty good. We'll grab our snips. Snip off the bottom part. That's not going anywhere. I believe we're good. All right, the next thing they say is to attach the B and C connector. So we get that put in here. It's a little bit trickier getting this in. There we go. And same thing, we'll go ahead and get our solder ready. Believe we've got that in there correctly. Hopefully not touching anything else. And we'll go ahead and solder this piece in. There we go. Pull out a little more solder. We're just making sure all of our connections are good. Nothing's going to be moving around on us. Sure as heck don't want things falling out of the project once we get this thing going. So I do believe that is it. Give it one last little check here. Yeah, I may have to go back and fix that a little bit. That might be just a little bit too much. Those pieces might be touching. Oh, well, maybe they're not touching. Well, they're darn close, though. I think for the sake of thoroughness, I'm going to go ahead and take that back a little bit. Get that scrubbed off there. And hopefully, yeah, we're good. We're good there. All right, so the next part of this build is going to be wrapping the toroid right there. And they give you this magnetic wire. So I suggest having a little tiny ruler. Get a little ruler from your local big box home center. And according to the instructions, well, actually, before I do this, we have to put the other piece on here. So we're going to go ahead and follow along. So with that, they want this screwed in. I'll just go ahead and bring it all the way down. I'm supposed to put a washer or lock, another nut in our lock washer. And now this, set up like so, goes through here. Now we don't want to bring it up too much. You want to leave yourself some room because you're going to need to be able to take this thing on and off to attach your random wire when you have it built. We'll go ahead and just get that nice and snugged up there. And I'll take a pair of pliers, ones I've got available to me here. And maybe a set of needle nose, just to hold it all together. Get that on there nice and snug. Now, don't over tighten this, but you want to make sure that it's good and snug, and that way it's not going anywhere. But we should be good with that like we have it. So now, with these pieces all put in, we can now move over to the toroid and get that part built. So like I said, originally, you have magnet wire that comes with the kit. You want to take out a little bit of this, and you want to measure, because in the instructions, you want to measure out the first ½ inch, which I don't know if you can see that on the camera, it's kind of small. The first ½ inch, you want to scrape off the shielding that's on the wire. Now, the way that I found to do this the easiest is grabbing a little emery board that you can pick up at any store and just marking your area there and just scraping it off. Doesn't take much. Now, this emery board is also exactly 1 inch thickness, which is good because the next part, we have to go back through here and measure out at the 3.25 or 3 1/4 inch. Let's make sure it's exact. There we go. So 3 1/4 inch to 4 1/4 inch. So you got exactly a 1 inch section. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and mark the 3 1/4. Mark it on this side because we're going to take off some of that. And we'll get that scraped. And I do believe if we have that scraped at 3.25, we go over here to 4.25. That's 1 inch total. So go ahead and get that section off there. It's really hard to move things around in this silicone mat, but we'll get that taken off there. So now I know where I have to go. I will now just proceed to take that off.
You got to kind of flip it around and kind of see where you were prior so that you're able to get off the rest of it. I know it's right about there. So we got that off. Let's make sure we're still staying within our boundaries. There we go. All right, so we're good. So now we fold back the wire at 3.75 inches. So we'll go here to 3.75, which is right there. And there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and release more of this wire because we got some wrapping to do next. I don't need any additional issues or problems with our project. All right, so here we go. So hopefully this is all getting caught. There we go. We got our wire. See where we bent it back? We bent it back here, so that's stripped. So that stays like so. And now they want us to get pliers. So a little needle nose should do just fine, depending upon where I decided to hide them on myself. So we're going to grab these now. And we're going to twist. There we go. I think that looks a little bit better. It's definitely going to add some length to what we had last time, which means our toroid should wrap properly this time. So we'll just keep wrapping it until we reach the part where we stripped off here, that last ½ inch. There we go. I think I'm just a little bit happier with that setup there. I just noticed I got more red stuff over here to contend with. It didn't come off in the first attempt. All right, got that off. And a lot of this will get burned off when we do the soldering on this connection anyway. So now we'll go back to our toroid again, as they showed in the instructions. Bring that down to here. We wrap this around. Bring that up through. There's our first wrap. There is our second wrap. There we go. That's what we're supposed to look like. So now we got our 3 wraps. You can see on the right here. Got our 3 wraps. Got our little wire hanging down here and our twisted wire hanging up here. So we should be good to go. Yeah, so we're good. We're a little bit over, but I can live with that for now. If worst case, now I can burn off some more of this when I get this through here and get that all soldered and cut. So we're going to continue the winding, and we're going to do 24 turns. Since we have our 3 here, we're going to do 24 turns through this all the way around. So I'm going to undo this wire. This is a pretty long wire here. Really long wire. They give you plenty of wire to do this, so if you screw it up, guys, don't get overly concerned. You just want to make sure when you're winding this, as with any kind of a toroid wind, that you don't twist up and overlap any of your wraps. So go ahead and get that one. That is number 1. This will be number 2. Oh, lucky 13 is a change. So when we get to lucky 13, so lucky 13 shouldn't have been in there. I goofed up. Sorry, guys. Number 13 is where we go across the toroid. So I'm going to move this stuff down so we're looking a little bit like what the picture shows. So number 13, we go through just like we would normally, and we go under the other side. So I believe we're going to start wrapping the last 11. Yes, that now goes under here. And now we switch directions. And this now gets wrapped the other direction. Because I love switching hands. You guys as irritated with me doing this as I am? Just trying to keep everything straight, making sure you're doing it right, not getting kinks in the line. There's so many little underlying things you have to pay attention to when doing this. You don't want anything crossing. Okay. That was number 6. Here is number 5. So like I said, you'll be left with a whole lot more wire at the end of this wrap. So I'm going to go back through, make sure that I've got all my parts in here the way they're supposed to be. So I'll grab my little knife and we will start counting back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oops, I went over 1. I went 1 too far, didn't I? Make sure here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I went over 1. So I was actually done a minute ago before I thought I was done. There we go. 1 loop out, no big deal. So that's it. We now have our spots here for the toroid to connect there and there. So we're going to be cutting this off, scraping some of that off, and soldering that into this shortly. So let's see what they've got here. Install the top PCB flush with the surface. Clip the leads and secure with 2 nylon ties as shown below. All right. Well, that'll be fun. Figuring out how we're going to do all that. I'm going to leave myself plenty of extra, just in case I screw something else up. But I think that is our setup. And I do believe that the way that this goes in, and I missed a bunch. Emery board and scrape. That'll be enough to solder at least. Good. All right, so we'll get all of our parts in place. And if I'm correct, I think I have to double check here, make sure we're not completely screwed up. Yeah, okay. So this piece, the long end wire there is going to go right into here. Your other little single wire will go into that hole, and our twisted wire will go into that hole. So we get these all lined up accordingly. I have to squish that down a little bit so it'll actually fit through. There we go. All right. Maybe we can now move forward. So do that, get that, and that. And that's how we set it. So now what they're saying in the instructions, once again, so we've got that all wrapped up. It looks kind of like it's supposed to. Definitely not perfect. So now we got to use our zip ties. And we will run them through the bottom. Bring you around the other bottom. And we'll go ahead and zip tie Probably should have thought about that a little bit better first. I'm going to suggest not zip tying this thing before you get ready to solder these bottom points here, because the zip tie is very much in the way, and now I've got the damn thing locked and I can't do anything about it. So I'm going to set this down. I'm going to grab my solder and I'm going to go ahead and solder this point. There. Make sure we're nice and tight to the board, as we are. And we will solder down that point. Go ahead and get our last one. There we go. So all three of our points soldered now. Adding this zip tie on here won't be as much of a pain in the butt as it was a minute ago. And for good measure, we're going to go ahead and snip off our bottom connections, since you don't need those anymore. Go ahead and get rid of that, and get rid of that. So we should be good to go. I'll get this last zip tie in here. We'll get those cut. So now this thing is fully secured. If I can make things cooperate with me just for 5 seconds. Only problem with being a one-man show is that sometimes things don't work out your way. There we go. So that is all set up in there. We'll snip off these extra pieces. And that is it. One QRPGuys end-fed half-wave antenna. So I guess next thing to do is going to be testing it out. Throwing a wire on here. It says no tune. Is that right there? No tune. So we'll see if that's true. I'm going to do an SWR test on it and make sure that everything is good. And we'll go from there. So you guys stay tuned here. We'll move on to the next part. Thanks a lot for watching.